The Jets were the talk of the football world this season after firing head coach Robert Saleh earlier this week. But here's the thing, we're only 5 weeks in, and they have a matchup with the Bills on Monday night that if they come away victorious, they are atop the AFC East right now. At 3-3, they will be. So it's still a wide open race there, and really only a two-horse race with the Dolphins and the Patriots seasons going in the tank the way they have. So it's not over for the Jets, but I want to start with you, Kyle, because you've been in some locker rooms that face some strong adversity over the course of your careers. How do you see this Jets team bouncing back here?
I wish in those times that I was facing adversity in Chicago that I would have been on a team as capable as this New York Jets football team. They have so much untapped talent and resources. Obviously, the defense is a really good one. Your quarterback is going to be a Hall of Famer, albeit a 40-year-old version of that. He's still somebody that I think can take your team places. You got to find a way to get this locker room together. Obviously, the big mystery surrounding this Robert Saleh firing, and some people think there is no mystery, but I tend to think there is some mystery there. It's too early in the season. Aaron Rodgers is too smart to make that decision on his own. He knows what he has in Robert Saleh and that defense. I think he wouldn't want to ruffle those feathers and mess with that. Moving forward, though, you've got to find a way to get this offense on the same page with one another, the receivers and Aaron Rodgers. And I think it starts with Aaron Rodgers. I'm tired of pointing the finger elsewhere. He's got to just swallow the pill and say, this is on me. I got to right this ship. I'm here for a reason. All these guys are in the same building because of me. We've got a great defense. Let's go make this thing happen. A great opportunity in the division against the Buffalo Bills. Got to see it. Got to see it, though. Games aren't played on paper. They got to play it. They got to go win this game.
Like monitoring the Jets this week was like watching an episode of The Young and the Restless. It was the ultimate soap opera. I mean, so much going on that wasn't really on the field related. And to your point, Kyle, I felt like firing Robert Saleh was a bit premature. It felt like they were just hitting the panic button. And it also kind of gives me 2023 Philadelphia Eagle vibes when they kind of fired everyone that wasn't Nick Sirianni when it came to the coordinators for their respectable offense and defense. And we saw how that worked out. But they still have an opportunity to correct all their wrongs if they just win Monday. You will be atop of your division with everything that is going on. And something I like to piggyback on with you, Kyle, you said it, you were dead on. It's all about Aaron Rodgers because the defense outside of week one against San Francisco been playing more than serviceable football. Heck, even last week in London, the defense played well enough for you to win. The offense has been the issue. But think about it this time around, guys. You can't go blame Zach Wilson for the offensive woes. You can't go blame Mike White. Those guys are no longer there, and you're still getting this. You're having the same issues. You're scoring this in 5 games. You have the same scoring average that you had 5 games a year ago with Zach Wilson as your starting quarterback. That's unacceptable. So I don't know if you felt like firing Robert Saleh was going to change the offensive identity. And I'm hearing they didn't even, they kind of demoted Nathaniel Hackett. He has the OC title, but he's not calling plays. Todd Downing is calling plays. So that's a telling sign right there. It's almost like, oh, well, you fired Robert Saleh, but then you demoted Nathaniel Hackett, but the defense was fine. I don't know if you kind of got rid of the wrong person or not, but we will see. But everything that we're talking about is all about Aaron Rodgers. He has to play better. Great graphic right there. There's no way in no world should Aaron Rodgers have a graphic next to Zach Wilson and the numbers are the same. I don't care if he's 41, 42, 43. That's not supposed to happen. And that has been the reality for the Jets. And that's why they made a coaching change in 5 games because of the inability of the offense to do what they've been called to do.
Yeah, you see those Jets defense numbers on the screen right there. It wasn't Robert Saleh's fault. I think anyone with 2 eyes who watched any of those games can tell you that his side of the ball, and I know he's the head coach, but he was the defensive head coach, was getting the job done, and not just like a good level, and an elite level, and a level that can still take you to the playoffs with how inept this offense was. But everyone knows that Nathaniel Hackett, at every single stop at this point that he's been at, that his offense has been kind of inept, right? And the Packers offense, after he left, took a step forward. It's like, what are we doing here?
And can I say something too? Even when
Yeah.
Nathaniel Hackett was in Green Bay, he wasn't calling plays. I he had the OC title, but he wasn't calling plays, and he got a head coaching job with the Broncos as a play caller OC, but he wasn't calling plays in Green Bay. So what do you really expect when he actually starts calling plays with a lot of expectations thrown at him based on where he's come from? Like, this is confusing. I'm all the way confused. I'm sorry, guys. It just didn't make any sense.
Oh no, we're all confused. But the one thing that has also the player has also been confused the past 2 weeks is Josh Allen. He has not looked himself. Is the one storyline where everything's setting up for the Bills to just trounce this Jets team, except for the fact that a couple weeks ago against the Ravens, he looked lost in that game. Obviously goes out with a minor injury. And then last week against the Texans, one of the worst games he's had in his NFL career, 9 of 30, leaves the game, comes back. Was he concussed? Wasn't he concussed? Obviously, they're going to say he wasn't, but I think we all saw what we saw there with him on the field and how he played after that. But he just has to be better. And he's going up against a pass defense here that is a top 5 pass defense in weeks 1 through 5 in terms of success rate since the year 2000. This is quite easily one of the best defenses in the NFL. So, Kyle, how do you see Josh Allen getting back on track? Or will this just be more of the same that we've seen the past 2 weeks?
Well, I mean, if this was the Bills team that was rolling into week 4, that was like 3-0, and Josh Allen was up near the top of the leaderboard for MVP, I would have no concern going against this Jets team. But with the characters that he has on the field, and now some of the characters that haven't been on the field recently, he doesn't have a true number one out there to go out there and just beat man coverage, find the holes in zone coverage. He has to try to manufacture that through getting through his progressions, and then he has to make perfect football throws. And yes, to your point, I think he was concussed. It's going to be interesting to see what version of him we see out there against the Jets. I thought it was kind of shameful that he was able to go back into the game. We have an unaffiliated neurological consultant that's supposed to be a neutral party watching all of these types of activities on the field. Well, we were all the UNCs at home watching, thinking, Josh Allen's out on his feet on the ground. We got to get him out of the game, but he finds his way back in the game, and the Bills struggle. It was one of his worst performances ever before and after that injury. So heading into this week against the Jets, a great defense. Take the pressure off of Josh. Run the football. You've got a good offensive line. I like your running back. I played for Aaron Kromer, the offensive line coach in the Buffalo Bills building. He's a great one. He always has a really good run game plan. If you need to get to it, you can trust that offensive line to take the pressure off of Josh Allen. The matchup does not bode well for him in the secondary.
The 2 recent losses for the Buffalo Bills, both opposing teams the Bills face, have one common thing that they have associated with them. They're both playoff caliber teams with pretty good defenses. That's why the issues surface in the passing game. Because when you're talking about going against the Baltimore Ravens and some of the guys they have in the secondary along with the pass rush, you talk about and being on the road, going to Houston, being on the road, you look at their defense, especially guys in the second level. The unknowns for Buffalo at the wide receiver spots couldn't handle that pressure for 4 quarters. To your point, Kyle, that's why the passing game was not there. It wasn't relevant. So you got to find a way to figure out who will be my reliable guys. And you talked about not having a wide receiver 1, Kyle. Well, we don't know who the wide receiver 2 is or 3. They're still trying to figure this out during the season. Like, who is wide receiver 1? Who's going to be 2? Who's going to be 3? They're still trying to figure these things out. And it's hard to do that when you're playing against good teams, especially on the defensive side. So this is going to be a very, very difficult ball game for Josh Allen when you talk about throwing the football. And I would say his probably most reliable pass catcher, especially if Shakur is not in the lineup, Khalil Shakur, it has to be Dalton Kincaid, who is the tight end. And you got to find a way to get him going. Because if you don't have Khalil in the lineup, once again, you're still trying to figure things out on the fly. And that's not a game plan you would like to utilize when you're playing against a team that has a lot at stake, not to mention one of the best pass defenses in the National Football League in the Jets.
Yeah, I think the Ravens put forward a little bit of a blueprint that you can play man against these wide receivers. And with these Jets corners, Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, they're about as good a man coverage duo as exists in the NFL. So I expect probably a low scoring one. We'll see how that one shakes out.